Welcome back. So in this video we're going to talk about the differentiated relational ontology, my personal favorite. So in this one we have a big O with a slash and a little one, and it's connected in some way. So what this means is that there's a little bit of metaphysical source in everyone, and these lines connecting mean that we as human beings struggle to interpret that little bit of goodness inside ourselves, but through discussing with other people we can better understand how to get to that metaphysical source. Okay? So I'm going to use a religious example because I think this is, I think it will relate. I'm not trying to proselytize anyone or anything like that. Think about the fact that if you were a believing person, if you believe in God in some way, you don't really understand God, the big O. And you struggle to interpret God. That's you, the little one, trying to understand the big one. So what do? Maybe you go to church and during the pastor's sermon, you feel a little bit closer to God because through the pastor's explanation of God, you feel that you can better understand God through that discussion. And then maybe after church, there's like a church picnic, and then you talk to the other churchgoers, and you're talking about the pastor's sermon and how that matches or doesn't match with your own set of beliefs. And then the other churchgoers can kind of help you better understand and explain through that conversation. So it's that there's something divine in all of us. We don't necessarily understand what it is. We don't necessarily have the means to fully understand it by ourselves, but through talking to other people, we have a better understanding. Now, how does this relate to management? So it's management through storytelling and story listening. Okay? In this case, a manager is not going to say, "Hey Bob, you're going to do X, Y, and Z." But instead the manager admits that, as in the words of Alfred North Whitehead, they are nothing more than an ignorant man or an ignorant woman thinking. Okay? So then they come and they say, "Bob," they have an idea what's going on. They kind of know what they want to do, the big O. But then they say, "Hey Bob, what do you think about this?" And Bob says, "Well, you know, this is the way we've always done it, and that's what they're going to tell you to do, but don't do that because it's failed for these reasons." Okay, good to know. I know not to do those things. And then you go to Sue, and you say, "Hey Sue, what do you think about that?" And she says, "Well, you know, every time we produce the article that way, the customers hate it and kick it back, but nobody ever bothers to change the way we do things." Okay. And then you go to a bunch of people, and you listen a lot. That's story listening. You listen. And you gather as much information as you can until you feel confident enough to make a decision, and then you tell a story. That's the storytelling, story listening dichotomy. Okay? A theory that goes with this is humanism. Humanism postulates that all humanity is sacred and should be respected. And so a manager that follows a differentiated relational ontology is going to admit that they don't know everything, and is going to stand there and try to work to bring out the best in people. Yes, they've got a mentor, they've got to guide them. They don't just leave them alone as they do in the differentiated individual ontology. They have an opinion, there's things that have to be done, but what they're doing is they're doing a lot of listening so that they can create solutions that are better for everybody. And this is also the crux of integration. Mary Parker Follett. Okay? This idea that the task itself is almost situational. The job, the work is situational. And as a manager, what I have to do is figure out how to get workers to understand their own big O and get them to contribute, i.e. their little o, get them to contribute to that task for their own ways and their own reasons. So it's not about, I mean, here's a great example of something I've done all the time. Let's say that you got a project and there's 20 tasks to do. Okay? I could say, "Hey, you do tasks 1 through 5, you do 6 and 7, you know, like that." I could do that. Okay? People are like, "Oh, I hate doing task number 6. This is so lame." And they struggle and they shuffle their feet. And yeah, I can fire them, I can threaten them or whatever. But those kinds of things don't really work. Right? Or I can spend some time meeting with my new employees and say, "Hey, what are the things you'd like to do the most and what are the things you'd like to do the least?" And then they'll let you know. Then you go to different people, "Hey, what about this? And what do you think?" And they'll kind of give you some answers. And as it turns out, there's some people that are really, really good at some things, and you task them to those things. And there's some people that are really, really bad at some things, and they don't have an aptitude for it and they don't want to do it, have somebody that's good at those things. I mean, some people are really strong in math. Have them do what they can do and where they can shine. Some people are better writers. Some people are better, giving a business pitch. And so you find ways to bring out the best in people. That's the differentiated relational ontology. Now, as a manager in this particular ontology, you're not the big boss, but rather you're kind of like the approachable, nice, decent person. You ask questions. Yeah, you got to make a decision, and sometimes people don't. You can't always be the perfect integrator like Mary Parker Follett says, but you try to look out for the best interests of everybody in the corporation, including your own, in a way that is respectful to their individual talents, and that's how you bring out the best in people. Because if you say, hey buddy, what tasks are you really good at? I really love doing task number 1. You know what? You got task number 1 then, because you know that person's going to work extra hard on it, because it's something they actually love doing. Chester Barnard also is a follower of the differentiated relational ontology, and he said the goal should be trying to make work as much fun as baseball. Well, I'm not very good at baseball, so that's probably not going to work for me, but you get the idea. It's to help people derive satisfaction, enjoyment, and fulfillment out of their work, because you can get more out of them that way. They'll work longer hours. They will put in a higher quality effort. So that's what you want to do. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely hit that thumbs up. That's a like. Definitely comment down below, especially if you're one of my students. And in the next couple of videos, we're going to look at actual ways to apply these different models as you develop your managerial style. Looking forward to seeing you in the next videos.